Hi, I'm Leslie White, and in this video, we're going to go over 5 tips that can help you if you are trying to quit drinking or trying to quit an addiction. Like I said, I'm Leslie White, and I am a personal development and recovery coach. And in this video, we're going to talk about 5 tips that can help you if you are trying to quit drinking. Now, one thing I just want to tell you is that no matter what's happened to you or what you've been through, it is never too late for you. And it is never too late for you to get help and never too late for you to turn your life around. And so I just want you to understand that no matter what happens to you or what has happened to you, you are not at the point where your life cannot get better. And not only that, but your life can end up being better than it ever was. And, it's just a matter of figuring out how to stop doing the things that are hurting you and causing you harm. Now, in this video, we're going to start talking about the 5 tips. My first tip is that you only want to think about today. This is really, really important because a lot of times when we're trying to quit any behavior, it's easy to start worrying about what happened yesterday or what's going to happen tomorrow, and we forget to just focus on today. Now, one thing that'll happen a lot of times is if we start thinking about tomorrow, we might say, well, I want to quit drinking, but next week I have a party, and then the week after that I have a wedding, and so I'm not going to stop today because I have these other things. And our minds will play tricks on us like that. And one thing that I would do when I was trying to quit is I would say, oh, I need to quit, but what's going to happen if I go to the wine country, or what's going to happen when I go to Paris? And the thing was, I didn't even have plans to go to Paris, and I wasn't going to the wine country, but I would just do that to myself to try to get myself to not quit that day. So don't let that happen to you. Don't let yourself just start worrying about what's going to happen later. It's just focus on what's happening for you today. And then another thing is we have a tendency to go in the past and start beating ourselves up about what's happened. Maybe you're worried about things that you've done or things that you've said. Maybe you're worried people are talking about you. And if that's the case, I just want to tell you, don't go there. Don't do that to yourself. Instead, just focus on what's happening to you right now. That's all that matters. And just think, a good trick to do is just go think of where your mind is and put it where your feet are. And if you can keep your mind where your feet are, you can stay in the present moment because your feet will always be in the present. So if you find yourself beating yourself up about yesterday, or if you start worrying about the party next week, just say, where are my feet? And just bring your mind back to where your feet are. And another thing is, you can figure out about the party next week, or you can figure out about the birthday in 2 weeks. When that comes, you can make that decision. But if you don't have the party today and you don't have the birthday today, then go ahead and just try not to drink or use just for this day. My next tip is to figure out your why. Now, this is very important because you want to know what it is, the reason that you're wanting to do this. And sometimes it's hard to figure out what we want, but it's really easy to figure out what we don't want. And so, if you think about things that are happening to you right now that you are so tired of, get a journal and write this down. And it's good to get a journal that you think is beautiful and makes you feel good, and just write down why you're doing this. So say to yourself, I don't want to feel like this anymore when I wake up. I am so tired of being exhausted. I'm tired of feeling like people are talking about me. I'm tired of worrying about why I got in a fight the night before with my spouse, or things like this. Just say to yourself, I don't want to do that anymore, and then write it down. And then another good thing to do is just to put what you want. Like, what do you want to feel? Do you want to feel energetic? Do you want to feel close to your kids? Do you want to feel happy about your future? Write all of these things down because they can happen for you. And it's good to keep that written down. And another thing that's good to do is if you have things that you've done in your past that just kind of make you cringe when you think about it, write that down too. And you don't have to put the whole thing. You don't have to write out a big long essay about each thing that you've done, but you can just write down one word to represent the scenario. So, for instance, you know, if something bad happened at a Christmas party, just write down that Christmas party. And then when you look at your notes later, you'll realize, like, you don't want to go back there again. You don't want to feel like that again. And so what will happen, what tends to happen to us, is later, after you haven't had anything to drink in a few days or a month, you might start thinking, you know what, I'm fine, I can handle this. And that's when you want to go back and look at your notebook and read these reasons why you wanted to stop in the first place. And that will help you stay on track. My tip number 3 is to make substitutions. Now, this is great for any goal that you have. This will help you attain any goal. But for this instance, we're going to use it for drinking, you know, quitting drinking or using drugs. So when you make a substitution, what you want to do is look at your day and look at your patterns and figure out, when is it that you normally drink? What are your patterns with that? So if you look at it and see that you normally start drinking when you cook dinner, maybe that's when you pour a glass of wine, or maybe when you get home from work. What you want to do is stock your refrigerator with non-alcoholic drinks that you really enjoy and that you like, and plan ahead of time what you're going to drink before it even happens. So know ahead of time, for instance, that you're going to have Perrier, like lime Perrier, when you start making dinner. Or maybe you're going to have, you know, a Diet Coke or a Coke when you get home from work. And if that decision is already made for you, it will help you so much when the time actually comes. You'll remember that's what you're going to drink, and it'll help keep you on track. This goes really well also for games or things like that when you would normally drink. Just plan ahead. And a thing that's really cool when you first stop drinking is that drinks that you used to really enjoy when you were younger taste really good again. So, you know, maybe get hot chocolate or get an Arctic Blast if you're at the movies. Do things like that that you used to really enjoy, and it helps you a lot. It'll help keep you on track. My number 4 tip is to ask God for help. Now, this is a big one, and it's one that you may want to skip. Sometimes people feel like this is really vague or they don't want to bother with this. But I will tell you that this is one of the most important ones you can do. This is a very, very powerful tool, and I just think that it would be so good for you if you tried it. Now, some people might say, well, I've already asked God for help, and here I am. I'm still in this exact situation. And I know how that is, and what I would say to you is keep asking. And if you are saying, a lot of times people will say, I don't want to ask God for help because I don't want to be on his radar. If I ask God for help, he might start looking at me and seeing the other things that I've been doing, or, you know, people sometimes feel like they don't have the right to ask God for help. And if this is the case for you, what I would say to you is, first of all, you can't earn that right. It's a gift. So don't worry about earning it. It's a gift to you that you can ask. And the other thing is, God knows everything all the time. So he's not like, you know, us, where we only pay attention to one thing or one person at a time. He knows everything all the time, and he's omniscient. So there's no way to cause attention to yourself because you already have his attention. And so don't not ask for help just because of that. And the one thing I would say to you is he already does know everything. He knows our thoughts before we think them. But he's the most compassionate, more compassionate than any person you've ever met. And he's a lot cooler than people give him credit for, and he can handle it. He can handle what you've done, he can handle what you're going to do, and he can help you. You just have to ask. Now, the other thing that I get a lot is, you know, when people say, well, I'm not going to ask because I don't believe in God. And, you know, when you say that, what I would say to you is just ask anyway. You don't have to believe. And I've seen this happen so many times with so many people who don't believe in anything, and you just ask anyway. And all you have to say is just, if anything's out there, I really need your help. I cannot handle my life like this anymore. Please help me. And you'll be so surprised at what happens. Now, another thing is, it's really important when you're asking to just keep asking. And what I've seen help people to become really successful with quitting is anytime you think about it, anytime you think about you want to drink or use, or anytime you think about things that make you trigger to want to drink or use, ask God for help. So just say, please help me. I cannot do this. I cannot do this by myself. Please help me stay sober, or please help me quit drinking. And you'll be so surprised at what happens. And do it every single time. So sometimes that's like 1,000 little prayers a day. And if that's the case, that's fine. Just keep asking. And He will show up. I've seen it happen so many times. And especially if you don't believe. And if you don't believe, then there's no harm in asking, because if nothing's there, it shouldn't be a problem to just say that out loud, right? And if something is there, then you'll get help because you're asking. Tip number 5 is to find a support group. Now, sometimes people want to shy away from this or get nervous about getting a support group, but what I would tell you is don't cut yourself short for this. Don't sell yourself short by not finding a support group, because this is what can really, really help you and help you stay on track and show you how it is, like how to live a sober life and how to do things without drinking or using drugs. And there are some excellent organizations out there. There's one that I go to that I really, really like. And if you're interested in that, please feel free to message me, and I'll be happy to tell you what I do, where I go. But it's really nice to be able to go to a place where there are other people who are like you and who like to drink like you, and go there and just meet them and learn how they decided not to drink and how they don't drink every day. And there will also be new people there that are just like you, that are just coming in, and they'll be able to help you as well. And then, so those are my 5 tips. My 5 tips are: only think about today. Keep your head where your feet are. Figure out your why. Write down what you want to stop feeling, and write down how you want to start feeling. And remember why it is that you want to quit in the first place. Number 3 is make substitutions. Plan ahead of time what you're going to have to help you be successful. Number 4, ask God for help. This is a big one, and I can't stress it enough. Don't be afraid of this. And number 5 is find a support group. And before I go, I just want to tell you that your life can get so much better, and there is so much hope for you. And I just really hope that you will not give up and just hold on. And you can take your life, no matter what's happened to you, and use it to help other people. You can get through this. And so if you have any questions or have any comments, please feel free to message me. And I hope this has been helpful. I hope you have a happy New Year.